what I thought that meant.
Yeah. So usually before we go live, we usually kind of rotate. And so I guess I didn't realize that you were going to do this. So my parents raised a gentleman. So ma'am, lady, you can take the lead on this one.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And thank you for joining us as we continue our Facebook Live interviews with local nonprofits participating in GiveSI. We've had a great morning and we've learned a lot about many different nonprofits who are really servicing and impacting Southern Illinois. And today we have a friend of mine who's here. I'm really glad that she's in our little studio here at Mountain Dew Park to tell us a little bit more about the organization and what the funds that they raise during GiveSI will be used for. We also got to highlight her on one of our videos with WSIL. So I know a little bit about what that money is going to be used for, but I think it's going to be exciting for the community to hear, for donors to hear where that money will go that they donate for GiveSI. So I have with us today Heather Austin. Thank you so much for joining us. And Heather, tell us a little bit about the organization and what your mission is.
Sure, absolutely. Well, first of all, I want to thank you to the Southern Illinois Wellness Foundation, as well as WSIL and all of the sponsors for this fabulous effort on behalf of the people of Southern Illinois. It's just incredible the work that you guys have done in the past 4 years, I think, right?
Yeah, it's incredible.
Yeah. I've worked with nonprofits for a couple decades, but this nonprofit is Southern Illinois Center for the Independent Living. And a lot of people think that we're a residential organization, and we're not. Centers for Independent Living are all throughout Southern Illinois. We are operating in 13 counties. We have 4 sites throughout Southern Illinois. Our legacy site is in Carbondale and has been since mid-1980s. They first got their place there behind Pinch Penny Liquors back in the day in a small office space manned by people with disabilities. In fact, it is in our bylaws that our board and our staff must be governed by 51% staff and people with disabilities. And I'll talk to you a little bit about that too. But I'd like to let you know that that is the legacy site in Carbondale, which is now located off of Ramada Lane, which is by the Dollar General. And we've also purchased space in Harrisburg, and we built a building there off Veterans Drive. So we serve Saline, Gallatin, and Hardin out of that area. And then most recently, we purchased the Banterra Bank in Metropolis. And we've been there for about 2.5 years now. So we serve all those counties down there as well. And then we share space with Chessie in Cairo, Illinois, which you'll have Chessie here. We love that. They're a sister agency of ours. So we work together quite often to do food distributions in Cairo and mountains as well. We do them in other places also. But the centers are very unique in that it was grown out of the independent living movement of the 1960s. You may or may not know about the disability rights movement, which was mirrored a lot off of the civil rights movement. People with disabilities looked at the civil rights movement and saw that, they could do the same thing. And back in those days, discrimination was rampant, but you just didn't really know exactly what was happening because although we had the Rehab Act of 1973, ADA was not signed until 1991. So equal rights for people with disabilities were not a thing. So imagine yourself being a person in a chair, having a disability, and being told where you're going to live, where you're going to go to school, who's going to be your personal assistant, who's going to touch your body and do functions for you, what time you get up, what time you go to bed, what you eat throughout the day. So a group of citizens in Berkeley, California got together and they said, no, this isn't going to happen. And if you've known anything about Judy Heumann or other people, I would encourage you to read about Judy Heumann. She's the queen and mother of the disability rights movement. She started this, and what is now the result is centers for independent living all over the nation that are funded through the Rehab Act of 73, but we walk that out also through grants that we provide. So we have specific services and grants, such as a grant that we work with people who are blind or have low vision. All of our services are centered around keeping people independent in the community as much as possible. We don't want people in institutions. So that program helps people to ensure that they have the tools and the skills that they need to stay in their home. Another program I really love a lot is called CRP. It's our Community Reintegration Program. I love this because people are in skilled nursing facilities who can live independently in the community, but there's a lot of systemic stuff going on. For one thing, they're allowed $30 a month. Who could ever come and get out of a facility to afford living in a community? So we help those folks. So we've already helped 5 people get out of nursing facilities this year, and we set them up, and there's a lot of stuff that we do in that program. We also walk this out by training personal assistants. We train them all over the 13 counties so that people with disabilities can have people come in their homes, provide services for them that help them get up and do what they need to do throughout the day, and then help them also get back into bed if that's what they need.
So can you step back just for a second? I was like, I wanted to understand clear, like $30 a month. What, like they get $30 a month. Tell me a little bit about what does that mean?
So if a person has Social Security, which most of them do,
Okay.
they will get, the nursing facility will become their representative payee and take their Social Security money.
Okay.
And then the individual is left with $30 of spending money a month.
So an adult gets $30 a month to basically live life to its fullest.
Yeah,
Well,
although the majority of their needs are taken care of by the facility as far as food goes, or maybe hygiene products or things like that. But if you wanted snacks, or if you wanted to buy clothing or anything like that, that's the only bank account that you have. And in fact, in Illinois, you can only have $2,000 in assets to still remain on Medicaid, which everybody needs if you're in a skilled nursing facility, and more. But so, yeah.
And so the independent living gives them more freedom to live a life that they.
Well, it's equal access.
Oh,
It's the
okay.
same for you as me and
Right.
Michelle. It's living just like we would in our own residential settings, whether it be in an individual apartment setting, a trailer, a home, whatever that might be.
I think it can be very confusing to, when you're not in that situation, to understand what resources you have available, what people are, living with, and what they get the opportunity to do. And obviously part of all this, the community part, is, like you said, being a part of the community and being welcomed into that. So I think it's a great resource that you guys are providing.
Yeah.
And I think when you talk about the $30, right? I think what some people don't realize is that in those facilities, you are provided hygiene products, right? But it may not be the one that you've used for your whole life. If you want to spend, that's $30 for the shampoo that you like, the conditioner that you like.
Thank goodness I don't have to
need,
worry about that. But your point is very valid, is that their lifestyle is going to have to change. And that's sad.
Well, everything that you do is typically dictated by somebody else.
It's true.
And there is a big push I'm also working on right now with some folks out of the Chicagoland area for making systemic change statewide for long-term care facilities, and working to get legislation passed, which actually right now in the House a bill has been passed, and we're working to get it to the Senate right now. And through the pandemic, FEMA came in and they gave nursing facilities $7 million to increase their staffing within nursing facilities. So if they can do that, why can't we shift the perspective towards getting people out of nursing facilities? It is a for-profit business, there is no doubt. So if we can, take those resources now and use them to help people get PAs in the community, to help them live independently in the community, it would be so much better all the way around for everybody, our communities and people in general with disabilities. Of course, that's the top priority.
Yeah. Now the money specifically from GiveSI has a specific purpose, and so I was hoping you could touch on that.
Yeah. Believe it or not, people in wheelchairs, not all of them have access to egress in and out of their homes because they need a ramp to get there. Some, or maybe even a small ramp, a piece of plywood, something that they can gain that egress. And we are frequently contacted by people in the community that don't have ramps to get out of their homes. And there are organizations that come and build wooden ramps. They just don't last, as you know. And steel ramps cost a lot of money.
Mhm.
So when this came up this year, we tried to think about, there's a lot of things that we could utilize monies for, activities, there's, things in the community that we could do. But we really felt like, there's a big gap here. There's no funding statewide for ramps. So we would like to dedicate and earmark this money to somebody who calls the center and says, I need help. I'll give you one quick example. Throughout the pandemic, I know of an individual who could not get out of his or her home to get a vaccination because they didn't have a ramp. Think about your inability to access your doctor, your inability to access the grocery store, your inability to access any other function that an able-bodied person would have in the community. So I think it's a really good way to utilize the money and the funds that we get through the GiveSI program.
Well, we appreciate, Heather, you coming in and sharing. I will tell you, I'll probably be talking about this one. I realized how much I don't know about independent living. So thank you for not only the great history aspect of it, but letting us know a little bit more about the areas that we can kind of learn and it's not a joking matter, but she's ready to put me in a home already. Because she likes to say that I turned 50, so I'm already out the door. So I guess I'm going to be coming to you before too long, as she keeps looking at me. But if you want to support Heather and the SI, make sure I don't mess this up again, SI Center for Independent Living, you're going to go in the description below. You're going to do 3 easy steps. Click the link, scroll down, and donate. And all the funds today are earmarked to build ramps for those that need it in their community. And thank you again for coming in today. And this will definitely be one that I'll be talking about and thinking about a lot. So anytime we have these organizations come in that you can learn from, I think it's amazing. And I'm glad that you're able to articulate that in a way that even I can understand. So how can people get a hold of you?
They can contact me through the center
at
618-457-3318. That's the easiest way, but you can also contact us through our Facebook page as well.
Well, thank you for coming in today.
Thanks.